why don't we talk about somebody else surviving? Let's talk about Boris, whether he can survive the month of June. We're all going to be out of money by the end of it, and maybe he'll be out of luck. I don't know. We'll find out. Noah Khogali is a political commentator. Joins me now. Noah, good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
Yeah, really well. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here on TalkTV. So, Boris Johnson has been able to distract very neatly with the Jubilee and all that sort of stuff, but now that's over, we've got the hangover, we've got to pay the bill. Are we going to see any kind of challenge to Boris's power?
Publicly, it's still up a little bit in the air, but behind the scenes, 100%. We're looking at about 28, possibly 29 people who publicly have said that they've put in a letter of no confidence, which is obviously more than the 27 that there were publicly when Theresa May faced her vote of confidence. So one would assume if we're not there already, we're close. The rumours that we heard last week were that there was one coming on Tuesday. Some of the stuff over the weekend has suggested it might actually be Wednesday if it happens. So we could see something. But it is also to remember that the process here means that if there is a vote of confidence and Boris wins, he is then protected for a year. So you would assume that if these rebels are somewhat coordinated, they're not really going to make a challenge unless they are, at least in some part, confident that they're going to win it.
And that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Which is, if Boris Johnson were to face this poll, and you could see a sort of political change in fortunes, that he might win it, that then bolsters his authority. We've got the questionnaires which have been put in by the police for Keir Starmer and indeed for his deputy. So that could go the wrong way. They could be fined, and then we could find ourselves with a lack of leadership in the Labour Party. I mean, you know, a few days is a long time in politics, as we all know. Is there any chance you think that we will see an upending? Because at the moment, Labour is sitting pretty, and the Conservatives are in somewhat of disarray. This could sort them out, couldn't it?
I don't know. I think it's probably lose-lose. Obviously, the questionnaires have gone into Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner. But if they do get fined and, as they promised to, go, then that leaves the question, almost done and dusted for Boris. He kind of has to. But obviously, if they come out of it looking fine, that just makes Boris look even worse, and he still arguably has to go. There is no outcome of that which is positive for Boris, and obviously then positive for the party. There was obviously a briefing paper circulated by backbenchers and rebels over the weekend that called Boris the Conservative Corbyn, or that he was at risk of becoming Conservative Corbyn. And that kind of language, I think, really does demonstrate how visceral the feeling is on the backbenchers. These aren't people, go, change of leadership might be nice, might get a leadership position, something like that. These are people genuinely concerned that we're going to see a repeat of 97, and that the Conservatives are going to get completely wiped out of the next general election. Double down on that, there is also the fears that in order to save his premiership, Boris is going to call an early election, which I think would be disastrous for everybody involved.
Just finally, though, let's just talk a little bit about that sort of Jubilee effect. Has that changed, perhaps, political sort of winds of changes as we head towards the summer? The weather's better, people get distracted by things. We've got Wimbledon, we've got various other things. And then, of course, we have the great summer recess. I mean, could Boris survive all of this and come back stronger, or do you think that he's in trouble no matter where he turns?
Well, I mean, how many times have we sat here before and said this is the end of Boris? The man seems to be able to survive anything. He's proven Teflon. I think there was some amount of positivity generated by the Jubilee, but to be honest, I think that showed quite a stark contrast between the mood in the Conservative Party and the mood in the public, and that's probably made things worse in the long term. And if we're greeted by this, pride and Britishness and exuberance over the summer, that's going to only show quite damningly the huge gulf between what's going on in Downing Street and in Westminster and in the rest of the country. In your opinion, does Boris stay or go? I think he needs to go.
It's not a question of whether he needs to go. Do you think he will go?
I think that there will likely be a leadership election. I think he will then try and fight that. So it depends on whether the backbenchers can find a suitable candidate to run against him, or whether they will all split and back their own future PM.
See, that's the point, and there's a bit of me that says that even if there is that election and that challenge, Boris may come through, weakened albeit. But there we go. Noah, thank you so much for joining this morning here on TalkTV. Much appreciated. That's Noah Khogali, who is a political commentator. Much appreciated. So.